chapter 1, Mishnah 12. What does it say? It says Hillel and Shammai received the oral tradition from them, from Shammai and Avtalion. So we're on Hillel and Shammai. Yay. Hillel and Shammai are always fun to study. Trivia question. Who's the stricter one, Hillel or Shammai? Shammai is the stricter one. Yeah, we're going to see, though, a Mishnah where he says that everyone should be, you should greet everybody like with a smile. It's interesting. I don't know if you picture Shammai in your head, don't picture somebody that like jovial, really. But okay, Hillel and Shammai received the tradition from them. Hillel said, be of the disciples of Aaron. Okay, who are the disciples of Aaron? They loved peace and pursued peace. They loved humankind and draw them close to the Torah. Okay, so there's a classic story about Aaron, Aharon. Basically, it's told in many different ways, but one way, the way of Aaron was to try to increase peace. Everybody knows about Aharon in the Torah. He, one of his kind of failings was that he didn't really push back against the people and with the golden calf. Kuzari says he was trying to test the people, whatever, but like he got swayed into all that, got like drawn into all of that. It's kind of like, there's different types of people. There's people like very strict. There's people kind of like are very peaceful, and sometimes they can get they're over. He was a very peaceful man. So, and the positive side of that was that he would, if there was a couple that was having marital issues, he wouldn't just listen to them and go and like reflect what they were going through. He would take action and try to make things better. How would he do that? He listened to the husband, and then he'd go up to the wife and say, your husband was talking to me. He was saying that he felt so bad about this and that. He really, really holds you in high regard. And then he talked to the wife, and she shared information with him. And then he'd go to the husband and be like, your wife was sharing me all these good things about you. And then before they know it, they were talking again. So that's like the story. And there's like different contexts in which he did that. It could be he didn't do it that extreme. Maybe he just kind of like showed the positive sides of each person to make the other one look good. But he was really seeking out peace a lot of times between people. So when Hillel's saying, how should you be in life? You should be that person. There's different types of people. You have a type of person who is always looking to agitate. Is always looking to find something wrong or to push people's buttons or nothing's like perfectly aligned with how they think. That's not the way Hillel says we should be. Hillel says we should be seeking peace. We should try to find peace and promote peace. So that's kind of like, and he brings Aaron as an example. So what it says here, it says love peace and pursue peace. It says love the briot. Very interesting. What is briot? It says ohevet briot. What is briot? Dad, what's briot in Hebrew? That's briut, but good one. So briot is creatures. Bria, rara is to create. Right?
Humankind.
Humankind. Oh, good. I think you read that, right? But good. You read the English really nice now. But so you guessed it. Okay, cool. So yeah. Okay, so briot is humankind or creatures. So you have to see why it's talking about creatures. But what I want to talk about and bring them closer to Torah. What I want to offer is that these are teachings that kind of go together, perhaps in two groups, and you need each one. Okay, so we have love peace and pursue peace. Why do you need both? Why is it not enough just to pursue peace, or why isn't it enough just to love peace? Why do we need both? What do you think? Yeah, Shane.
One is like intellectual and the other is in action. Like if you know it and don't do anything to help make it happen, then what good is knowing it?
Mm-hmm. How about the opposite? What if you pursue peace but you don't love peace?
If you don't really understand it and believe in it, what is it that you're preaching or what that you're doing?
Mm-hmm. Anybody else want to offer a thought on that?
One's kind of dynamic, one's static. To pursue peace is dynamic. You need to get up, find it, make it happen. And loving peace is something that it exists and you can just enjoy it. You don't have to be involved in it having happened.
So there are two modes of experiencing peace.
But if you don't love peace, just pursuing it, you may not know it when you find it. Peace.
Ooh,
That's very interesting. So why are you okay, you could pursuing it, but you
If you're
don't,
pursuing it, but you don't really understand the
Ah,
love piece,
that's really
then
nice.
once it might be right there in front of you, with
Uh-huh.
the situation, but you might not recognize
That's
it.
really nice, yeah.
So isn't one proactive and one reactive?
You tell us. No, it's open. I mean, this is again, we said that Pirkei Avot, it's like tweets. You know, trying to understand Rabbi's tweets from 2,000 years ago.
Right, so loving peace is reactive and pursuing peace is being proactive.
Okay. Yeah,
I also see it as loving peace is internal and pursuing peace is external.
so that's kind of similar to what Sandy said a little bit.
we're all three saying the same thing.
Okay, so there are many people who post on social media about peace. You know, like there's slogans that people put, there's like the coexist bumper sticker, which it's all valuable things. But many times someone who posts about peace, but they're actually not doing anything to foster peace, I think that's what we might be talking about. Love peace is great. You have to love peace, but it's not enough just to post on Facebook about peace or post on Twitter about that you want there to be peace. We have to actively pursue peace to make sure that there is peace. So I think that sometimes, like I used to take part in, I haven't done it in a while, but I used to take part in like interfaith programs, especially as in rabbinical school. I like ran like this like interfaith program at Union at one of the seminaries. And sometimes in these interfaith programs, it's basically just like talking about getting along, right? And I think that that's a positive thing, that the different communities are able to get along, to hear each other. That's a great step. But like, I think it's to talk about it, but to actually be involved together in some way in the world, to work towards peace together, to advance peace in the world. I think that that's like another level. That makes sense. Like it's not enough just to love peace, to talk about it, to post pictures that your communities are getting together and you really have to be involved together in promoting actual relations between the communities and working actually in a broader level to bring peace into the world. So yeah, I think it's like not just loving but acting. Yeah.
It's also suggested that it should be a continuing process. If we put the word terror instead of peace, you don't just stop when you think you've learned terror. You have to continue pursuing it. The same with peace.
Oh, I love that. So you have to love peace, but you can't stop. You can't have to keep doing it. Otherwise,
Continuing process.
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
It just crossed my mind, like, what about the person who says, I have this bumper sticker that says coexist or
Yeah.
peace now or whatever, and they say, well, my putting that on my
That
car
is pursuing.
is pursuing it because I'm stating, here's a person for peace, and there are people like this
Yeah. So I
in the
don't.
world.
Correct. I don't want
That's
to.
all they do.
I don't want to downplay that.
Right.
That's positive. It's a positive thing.
Right.
It's a good step. I feel like sometimes it's comfortable for us to hide behind slogans and not do more that we can do. If that's what you can do, and it's also a positive thing. I think it's, if you hide behind it and you don't work harder to pursue the peace, then that's not as high of a level, I would say. Yeah.
Peace is a moving target.
No.
It's different things at different times.
Okay. So what do you mean by that?
I was thinking of, what other words can we also use synonymously to peace?
Completion. In terms of the Hebrew.
Yeah, for some it might be agreement.
You're saying it has a lot of different sides to it.
It's,
Balance.
there is a balance.
Nice.
Well, today, you only have peace when people agree with each other. And if you don't agree with me, go away.
So I think
That's
it's,
what you have.
but that could be what they're saying here. Love peace and pursue peace. Don't just, I guess it's like you have to really love the peace. Meaning, don't just, that could be the other side of it. Like you're saying, I'm pursuing peace, but you don't really love the peace. I'm saying it's like you're pursuing, we should all get along. You're pursuing peace. But inside, you're not really actually looking to create a real connection with the other person. You're just wanting to kind of be like you or to like align with your, yeah.
All right. I know I'm not the only one here who was in college in the sixties, late sixties and early seventies.
I think I'm the only one who is not. No, it's joking.
Wait a
I think
Oh, okay, I saw that. Never mind. I actually don't know how long ago that was.
But
Oh,
that was the anti-Vietnam era.
Okay,
So you would have people out there hollering that they were pursuing peace and the war, and they were doing it with violence,
laying down in the middle of Route 1 wasn't violent.
That's when the National Guard came.
shooting people.
All right, so let's not debate on that, but like, can you give over that, Lamette?
Protest rallies and whatever, and we see it today, we see the same things happening today.
So you have to.
I'm pursuing peace, but I'm doing it with violence.
Correct. So you can take it many different ways, like, and like communism and other types of philosophies that ended up in a really bad place that started out with peace. That could also, it starts out with pursuing peace, but if you don't really seek out the peace, it becomes like usurping power and it can become rotted from the inside. It's like you can bring different examples for it, but I'm agreeing with what you're saying. Yeah.
And along the lines of what you said, it's like a country, you know, we want peace, but we pursue it through strength. And, you know, we have a strong military because
A
you need
deterrent.
it, you know, it's just the way it is. So,
How does that work into this? That's a good question.
I'm not saying it works into this, but it's just addressing what she said that way. But even so, well, I guess if you go back to biblical times and when we had to make peace with our, you know, other kings or neighbors and what have you, and we tried to be nice about it, but yet we needed to be strong because they didn't want it.
So we're going to see that Hillel. Hillel is very peaceful so far, right? The Hillel that we're seeing so far. We're going to see Hillel also has a strong, self-image. He has a strong, he knows when to also set boundaries and whatnot. So we're going to see that. Okay, we're going to see that. But it's a good point. All right, so I think you need to love peace, and it not just to pursue peace, but also not just to love peace, like, but post a slogan or something and just perhaps hide behind that, but also act and pursue peace. The opposite also. Don't just pursue peace. Tell everybody you should be in peace, be peaceful, but you don't really love peace. You're not really in love with it. You're not really looking to connect people or to make connections with people. That's also a negative. So you need both of the sides together. Okay. So similarly, the second part of this
Shama.
is not Shammai. Shammai is another whole other. Philosophy.
And drawing them closer to Torah.
We have love the brio. Love the brio. We're going to see what that means. Love the brio, which is love all creatures, love all of God's creations, and then bring them close to the Torah. So think about how these two work together. But a few thoughts connected to this. Love the brio. So a lot of times there's different modes of, kiruv is like bringing people closer to Judaism. There's different models of kiruv. Some do it through fire and brimstone. If you don't, it doesn't happen so much in Jewish circles, but some Israeli circles, it does happen where it's like, if you don't come close to Judaism, you don't follow God's Torah. Oh, you don't know what's going to be in store for you. That's I don't think he's saying that. Hillel's not saying that. He's saying something different. He's saying, love the briot, love God's creatures, show them love, and through that, you could bring them closer to Torah. So one is connected to the other. Love others. So it could be as simple as you being a nice person. I know when I first came to Beth Tefillah, and I still say this. That's why I think Beth Tefillah. I hope I'm objectively saying this, but that's why I think Beth Tefillah is like one of the more unique places. At its core, it's just love. It's a lot of love. Like when you come in here, people are happy. They're smiling. Like that's why I joined the shul. Like I literally felt that my whole weekend. I was like, what is this place? Like, what's going on here? It's like everybody's just happy. They're smiling. Like, and truth be told, like sometimes people are like, can be grumpy here and there, but overall, like it is a happy and positive place. So you come to a positive place, you come to a place of love, that brings you close. You want to be near that. And so if we, as God-fearing people, people who follow Judaism with our family, with our children, with our grandchildren, they see how much we love Judaism. They see how loving we are. That love is infectious. So just by being in love with Judaism, being in love with other people, you can bring them close to the Torah in a very powerful way. So that's what I think what he's saying.
We saw that firsthand. My son-in-law is a Jew by choice. And when he was asked why did he want to be a Jew, and part of his answer was, I see my wife's family, Friday night dinner, and just the closeness and the lovingness of themselves and Judaism. Just really wanted to
I mean,
be there.
some of the best ways to influence people in Judaism is just if you're hosting, you're having a Shabbos meal, just to bring people to your Shabbos meal. If you're having a Shabbos meal, it's like you can. For me personally, that's what brought me close to Judaism. I learned with some great scholars in Jerusalem. Thank God, I learned with some geniuses. What really connected me the most was the Shabbos meals that I spent at my grandfather's and grandmother's house, where they show me a living Judaism of love, and they were very close to me and they connected with me. That impacted me. So it's really loving others, loving Judaism, showing a Judaism of love. That can be infectious. That can draw people in. So I think that's what Hillel, that was Hillel's style. Hillel's style was being about love, being about patience, being about care. People see that, they want to be near that. They want to connect to it. So I think that's what he's saying. Ohevet habriyot umekarvan l'Torah. Oh yeah. Somebody's raising their hand. Yeah, Lynn. I can't hear you though for some reason. Okay. And our volume's working. We can't hear you. Can you guys hear? No. We still can't hear you. Can anybody read? Anybody read lips? Anybody know what she's
A
saying?
microphone is muted.
Your microphone sounds great.
Thank you.
Yeah. And your camera quality is pretty good too. All right. Yeah.
A little bit of what you said just before is similar to the way Chabad approaches things.
Yeah.
And even here, and I think that's part of why people feel so comfortable here, because we're not all strictly strict, and we accept each other and we're comfortable with each other. And
That's why I think Beth Phil's, I know, like, I don't know why I'm making this, but truth is I was making this pitch for somebody at, I was at the gym today. I was like, someone was just talking to me there and I was like, I don't know why I was telling him all this, but it's in my head. What? Yeah. Yeah,
We do have a weight room in the school, you know.
I know, but there I can't proselytize. No, just joking, but everybody already drank the Kool-Aid there. No, but so like what I think is unique about Beth Phil is like we don't really have like a strict ideology here. Like we want to help people be as Jewish as possible. Like the more people do, it will make the rabbis happy. But like it's not like we're extremely, we want people to be here, feel comfortable and grow here. And I think that's what's like such a unique thing. It's very rare to find.
Rabbi Moser says, he says, I don't look to move the synagogue left or right. I look to elevate.
I always love
I
that
think-
sentence.
I think it's a great.
Yeah.
I love that sentence. But like, there's no like underlying philosophy that we're just want people, we want to teach as much Judaism as possible, help people grow here. So I think that's like a secret about the feels like a secret recipe, a secret sauce here or something. That's like something, it's so rare and it's something so beautiful. And so that's kind of like that. I think we embody that message of like loving people and then bringing them close to Torah. And so that's another thing is sometimes people correct others not from a place of love, and that could be also, I think Hillel's warning us about that. Like sometimes it happens, like you're growing your spirituality and you become a little bit more religious, and then you have so much to say to other people around you who are not where you are. But just a few months ago, you didn't want to hear anything anyone had to say was a little bit more religious than you. You know, it's like it's a weird thing. But like the critique, when you bring people close to Torah, you have to be really careful where it's coming from. Are you annoyed at them because they're not at the level you're at right now, and it's frustrating for you, and then you're giving them critique, or are you doing it because you're really doing it out of love? It's different, that kind of critique. If you're giving critique because you're frustrated at somebody, that's not as impactful as you doing it from a place of like concern and sensitivity and patience. So I think he's trying to, if anybody knows the classic Hillel story, they know he was very, very patient, like his classic, I can tell in a moment, but you're gonna.
It's just a comment that, when people are mourning in Israel now, like when soldiers are killed in action,
Yeah,
somebody said, how can they be singing? Why is there music there? This is quite an absurd Jew saying that. And recently I saw them explaining it because I watched the Shiva, the Rabbi Walter.
it's a little bit louder though.
Sorry?
He's a little bit louder.
A little bit, my point is someone who's so strict could say in their mind, how could you sing during the Shiva?
Yeah.
But in Israel, because I watch it all the
Uh-huh.
time, they are singing and they're finding peace and not peace, comfort in
Yeah.
singing. That's all, I just thought of that when you said
Yeah.
how we look at other people, some people are just
So
have to follow exactly like this, and otherwise you're not an observant, you're not doing this.
I wanna give a shout out to Chabad though. Chabad is extremely they're special in that they don't compromise with their values and they manage to somehow be extremely nice and welcoming. It's a unique blend. Like, they're not, they do things by what their rabbi, what the Rebbe said and by what.
They're happy if you just.
They're happy with it, but from their perspective, like you're sitting separate, they have all their laws they're doing. They're not compromising on the laws, which is sometimes on the other side of that, sometimes there's people compromise a little bit too much for the sake of bringing people close. So it's like a balance, but I'm agreeing with what you're saying. I'm just adding on to that. All right, so that's a little bit on those statements of Hillel. How you doing at home? Good? Awesome. Okay. Let's go on to the next Mishnah, unless anybody has something to say on that. Okay. So this is actually a difficult Mishnah. Okay, I have like two interpretations to it, but I still think it needs a little bit more time to work on this, to figure out what it's saying. So Hillel, that same Hillel, used to say this. This is page 113. Okay. Sorry, page 37, chapter 1, Mishnah 13. Hillel used to say, one who makes his name great causes his name to be destroyed. Okay? Or her name. One who does not add to their knowledge causes it to cease. One who does not study the Torah deserves death. Okay? One who makes unworthy use of the crown of learning shall pass away. It's like 4 statements about bad things that can happen. Bad things can happen due to your actions. Okay, so let's try to analyze what they are. In my book, I thought that these could be discussing negative behaviors going in ascending order from the least to the worst bad. So the first thing is someone makes their name great, they cause their name to be destroyed. Yeah. What does that mean? Someone causes their name to be great? I guess they're trying to
It's someone who's not humble.
Someone's not humble. They're seeking honor. They want to be recognized. They're doing things. They want to spread their name. They're doing things for publicity solely, in a negative way. Publicity is not bad. It's not essentially bad. One who does not add to their knowledge. Okay, so it's a worse level than that is somebody who doesn't add to their knowledge, right? So you have some wisdom. You're not just looking. You really have content. You're not just looking for publicity. You really have content, but you're just staying complacent with what you have. You're not growing. You're not advancing. You're not trying to get better. So what happens? You end up losing your knowledge if you're not consistently trying to expand because you forget what you have and you're not growing. If you're not growing, you're going backward. That's kind of what it's saying. Okay, so one who does not.
I don't agree with that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
No, I mean, you don't have to continually grow to still thrive and maintain what you have. It's like you hear with businesses, they seem to constantly want to keep growing and doing, and so many times they fail because instead of being
Well, all I'm saying
happy
is-
with what they have and do well at it.
So I agree with you, and I think you're hinting to this third level. The second level, I think, is like businesses, let's say, they're not trying a new business model, but they're continuously restocking and selling, doing what they're doing, they're continuously maintaining the business. They're not getting complacent, like, oh, we built all these chains now, let's leave them and they'll manage them. No, they're consistently managing them. I think that could be what it's saying. Consistent, you don't think so? What do you think, what?
Business, if you don't grow, you die.
I would add the word adapt.
Right.
Yeah, that might be better than grow.
Okay, what's,
Well, you
I don't know.
A
need,
restaurant
you need
is-
to keep up.
so I say this could minimally be saying you need to consistently keep up and maintain what's going on. Maximally, it could be adapt or grow. Yeah, you could fit in different things here. The third one though is one who does not study deserves death. That's even a worse punishment. It's not just your name's gonna be destroyed. That's not the end of the world, but or your knowledge will cease. That's even worse. The next one is deserving death.
That's a bit hard.
That's harsh, right? Yeah, sometimes there's statements like that.
Doesn't say he's gonna die.
What? Doesn't say you're going to die, right? It says you're deserving death. That's a good point. So what is it? Chayav?
So,
Chayav, it says. Chayav.
so does not study, does that mean never studied or rejects? Rejects.
I don't know. I don't know. It just says Dila Yalif, someone who does not learn. It seems to be study Torah. Tala Chayav, they deserving of death. It seems like it's worse than it's worse than not adding to your knowledge. It seems like something worse. Maybe it's like, maybe that's second knowledge, maybe this is Torah. I don't know the distinction, but it seems like there's something worse going on here. Yeah.
Does that make anyone who's not Jewish who studies Torah your enemy?
Why?
Well, it says that if you don't study Torah, you deserve death. If Torah is not part of your belief system.
Then you're not alive. I wouldn't say that you're an enemy, but I think it's saying that the more Torah you study, the more life you have. Yeah.
That might be
I
that.
think you're more alive. So it's like, it's not just that like you're going backwards. The more, if you're lacking Torah in a real essential way, you're lacking life. You're lacking you're not connected to the tree of life. You're not plugged in. Yeah.
Is he talking about their Jewish people or people in general?
I think he's talking to Jewish people.
I mean, it seems
Yeah.
like it, but
I think he's talking to Jewish people. I mean, but you can expand some. I mean, Torah's it's everyone's Torah. I mean, there's non-Jews have other obligations than Jews, but they also have a connection to Torah. The 7 mitzvot of Bnei Noach, they have their own path. But, all right, the last one is one who makes unworthy use of the crown of learning shall pass away. That's literally not just deserving of death. So it's really interesting that this is the harshest one. What does it mean to make unworthy use of the crown of learning?
So maybe it means that you are given the ability to, you are given this great ability to be able to learn. And if you don't take advantage of this ability or this gift, you shall pass away, which I think is harsh also.
Yeah. Right?
I'd like to offer an alternate explanation.
Yeah.
I think what it means if you are highly respected, learned, and then you use that to lead people astray. In other words, if you're using your incredible Torah knowledge, a little like Acher maybe, but that you're using your Torah knowledge, you will to lead people astray, then you shall die.
Yeah, I mean, it could be correct. It could be like, you didn't just learn Torah, you have the crown of Torah, like you've expanded your knowledge, you've gotten to the point where like you are an elite Torah scholar, and now you're using it to draw people astray, or you're using it for the wrong reasons. That is a big desecration of God's name, when you have rabbinic leaders and spiritual leaders overall who are doing or abusing the Torah. It's probably a very, very bad thing.
like a false messiah.
A false messiah or a rabbi who's using his power or her power for bad, like, abusing it.
Personal gain.
Personal gain or worse, for manipulation or trying to become powerful and I don't know, or create something or it can get to cultish levels where the leader becomes such a great spiritual, energetic, charismatic figure that people end up following them blindly and they end up abusing their power and creating like type of a cult situation. I'm not saying that, it doesn't happen that often, but like that can happen. So it could be talking about that. So that's the worst, it seems. So go up, higher you go up, the more responsibility you have. It seems to be at that, could be a message of this. Another way I was thinking today about reading this could be like this. You split this into two. So you basically have two categories. Because it doesn't say one who does not add to their knowledge. I added that. It just says Delo Mosif Yasaf. So you could just say like this, one who does not add to their name causes it to cease. So the first
That could be like procreation.
Wait, so let me finish the thought. So the first two lines could be talking about your name. The second two lines could be talking about Torah. And they're basically saying, on one hand, don't go overboard with your name, but don't forget your name. It's a completely different interpretation, right? One who makes their name great, too great, you're looking out all the time to be recognized, to be known, then your name will be destroyed. Meaning you're going to go so far that people won't respect you anymore. They'll know that it's fake. They'll know that. But if you're if you do not add to your name, you do not seek out to like develop your name, develop your personhood, define who you are, define your real essence, then you'll cause it to cease. You'll cause your name to cease. You won't have anything, right? So it goes two sides of that. And the second part is about Torah. Similarly, one who does not study Torah, they deserve death. One who makes unworthy use, but if you studied a lot of Torah and you make unworthy use of it, that's bad. So it's like on one. There's two paths here. One is the path of finding who you are. The other is the path of connecting to Torah. The first path basically says find out who you are, find your name, but don't overdo it. Don't seek out every single person knows your name, but you can't define who you are and embody your real essence. The second one is learn Torah, grow, expand in Torah, but don't go overboard with that to the point that you're using it in a bad way. So I think these could be two lanes, two different ways to understand our purpose. Yeah.
But you can take it literally in that if you don't have children, you're not carrying your name forward.
Okay. That's interesting. Yeah. You could read it that way. So there's a statement. So everybody knows when you go, not everybody knows, but there's the sages say when you go to the next world, you're asked different questions. Okay. You're asked like, why didn't you learn Torah? Why weren't you involved in procreation? Why didn't you get involved in knowledge? Why weren't you honest in business? Were you honest in business? Not why weren't you? Were you honest in business? There's questions you're asked in the next world. That is like, I think, a religious track. Like your purpose in this world is to fulfill a religion and you're asked about that next world. But there's a whole other track. Really and this story embodies that track. This is not just the religious track. This is like the self-fulfillment track. Like, were you your authentic self? Did you find yourself? Did you find expression to who you're supposed to be in this world? It's a little bit different. Of course, they converge. Your authentic self, ideally, is supposed to be your religious self. But sometimes there's like a lot to say about you could live a fully religious life, but you never really knew who you were. You never really found out your unique gifts and abilities. And you ended up just like being kind of like technically fulfilling religion, but you didn't really manifest your gifts and your talents that God gave you. Or you could be totally manifesting your gifts and your talents, but you're not living a religious life. So I think this Mishnah, when it says, find out your name, develop your name, but don't go overboard. That's the self-fulfillment track. And the track that talks about Torah, learn Torah, but don't abuse Torah, that's the religious track. The statement that talks about going to the next world and like being asked who you are, not just being asked religious questions, is nice text. It's a classic story about Rab Zusha. His student asked Rebbe why he was sad when he was laying on his deathbed. Rebbe Zusha, he was a Hasidic master. But Rebbe, why are you sad? After all the great things you've accomplished, your place in heaven is assured. Meaning, you've done the Torah, you were involved in procreation, you were honest in business, you did all the religious stuff. You're perfectly fine. Your place is assured. So why are you afraid? He goes, I'm afraid, Zusha replied, because when I get to heaven, they won't ask me, why were you more like Moses? They were asking, why were you more like King David? God will ask Zusha, why weren't you more like Zusha? And what then will I say? That's an awesome, I mean, it's brought a lot in different sources, but I think it's just an awesome statement. Like, what's your name? Don't go overboard in like, aggrandizing your name. If you don't know your name, you don't know who you are, there's a whole aspect of your purpose in life that you've missed out on. So if you read the Mishnah that way, it could be talking about finding your name track, the Zusha track, or it could have the religious track, which are both are really needed. That's another way to, I think, read the Mishnah. Cool. Want to go on to another Mishnah? All right, I feel like I got a little quiet. People thinking about things, or
This is good, I like the mix.
because you're doing most of the talking. No, I'm just joking.
This is a good class.
Well, I appreciate that.
I like it.
I know you've been more involved tonight.
These
All right.
ones.
All right.
Last week I was a little tired too, so.
So we have to base it on, okay? All right, so make sure you nap next time, so then the class will turn out good. No, I'm just joking. Yeah, what were you gonna say? You're about to say something, yeah.
I just think it's really interesting. I think this whole thing's just really cool, the whole looking at it in different ways.
Yeah, okay, good.
It's good to have.
I think that there's like, this happens a lot, that these two extremes happen where it's like, be yourself, find yourself, and people highlight that. And the religious world says like, that's also true, but there's also structure. Like for instance, with davening, there's personal prayer, and people don't talk about that enough. In the whole Bible is about talking to God directly, finding your personal connection with God. And there's formal prayer. You say the formal words. So this mission, I think, is talking about your personal component of finding yourself, finding your name, and the formal, which is like living a religious life, growing in Torah, doing all the mitzvot. So you really need both. It's a hard balance. Sometimes it's hard to find yourself amidst all the halachas, all the laws and stuff like that. You can get lost. So it's a difficult balance. All right. All right, let's go on to this next mission. Oh, you're gonna like this Mishnah. You might have heard about it before. If I am not for it says Hillel, here's where it comes from. Okay, you've learned this statement before. Here's where it's from. Chapter 1, Mishnah 14 in Pirkei Avot. Im ein ani li mili, it sounds better in Hebrew than in English. Okay, it's like a tongue twister. Im ein ani li mili, if I'm not for myself, who is for me? But if I'm only for myself only, what am I? If not now, when? Okay, so those are the three statements. What's this Mishnah about? You've probably learned the Mishnah before or heard it. What's the message? What are we supposed to take from this Mishnah?
Doing this and tzedakah.
So
That's what I see,
okay, explain.
because you need to do for others in order to fulfill a lot of the mitzvahs that we have. So all three of those have something to do with that. Because if I'm only for myself, for yourself, you're doing the mitzvah.
If you're not for yourself, who is for me? I mean, you have to do the mitzvah. You have to take care of your spiritual life.
Right, but it's a mitzvah to take care of others.
That's the second line.
Right.
So how does the first line fit into tzedakah? If I'm not for myself, who is for me?
Well, if you can't do it, you can't do it. You have to take care of yourself first.
Okay, so it's guidance. First, you take care of yourself, and then you're able to have the wherewithal to take care of others.
It also means if nobody cares more about you than you. And so, you better take care of yourself first so that you can help others. In other
Yeah.
words, when you're on the plane, put your
That's
face
right.
mask on first so you can help your child.
It's just,
Yeah, that's
I-
the classic.
I said the story, I got
Yeah.
a good one, and then.
Yeah,
He heard it, that's fine. No, it's
No,
true.
it's great.
it's the classic.
It is.
So it's interesting, that's the order, right? So it's very interesting. Hillel, his character, when you hear about Hillel, you don't think of him, you think of him as the most selfless person. We talked about this in our Stories of the Sages, I think, maybe last year, the beginning of last year. I'll show you a few statements on Hillel. There's a classic story about Hillel where there was a wager. Anybody know the wager? Wager, these two individuals made a bet if they could annoy Hillel. They made a bet for a lot of money, apparently, to see if they could annoy Hillel. So that already says Hillel was somebody who didn't get annoyed very easily. The Messiah Shurim said Hillel never got mad. Rav Kook says maybe he did sometime. It's whatever, but like he barely got angry. So Hillel was showering, it was Erev Shabbos, getting ready for Shabbos, and these two individuals says, "Let me make a bet I can annoy Hillel." So he knocks on the door. He goes, "Is Hillel here? Hillel here?" Hillel comes out of the shower, puts on his robe, comes out. He goes, "B'ni, my son, how can I help you?" And he goes, "I have a question for you." And he asks him a silly question. I'm not going to get into all the silly questions, and Hillel answers with great patience. Answers him. He goes back, comes back again, asks him. Knocks on there. Hillel. And Hillel comes out in the middle of his shower. He gets dressed, gets robed, comes out, says, my son, how can I help you?" And he asks him another silly question. It happens again, and he comes out, "Hillel, my son." And at the end, fourth time, the kid, the person, I don't know if I always picture them as kids, but like maybe they're not. I don't know. They're knocking on the door. He comes by and he goes, "Are you Hillel?" He goes, "If you're Hillel, I don't want to know you because you made me lose a lot of money on this bet." I mean, he couldn't get under Hillel's skin. It's right. Anybody ever, you're getting ready last second for a holiday or Shabbos, it's a little stressful time period, right? Hillel, it shows how calm Hillel was and how long of a shower he used to take. You think about it. But thought about that. So, but really, he was extremely calm. And there's another story about somebody who coming to Hillel asking to convert on one leg. Teach me all the Torah on one leg. Shammai said, "Get out of here." He took his cube, like his his stick that he used to measure things with, and said, "Get out of here." And Hillel says, "Okay, I'll teach you. I'll convert you, and I'll teach you all the Torah on one leg." He says, "Love your don't." No, actually, he says, "Oh, what is hateful to you, don't do to others." It's a little bit different, but
Right, it's sort of like having the strength also to set some boundaries for yourself.
correct. So these stories, what we're seeing so far with Hillel, he actually didn't set
Right,
boundaries.
Right,
People don't know that there's other stories connected to Hillel where he does. Okay, so there's there's a text here where Hillel, where is it? Oh, so here's a story about Hillel. Okay, so a lot of his stories seem to be around the bathhouse for some reason, but because all your actions should be for the sake of heaven, like Hillel. When Hillel would go somewhere, they would ask him, "Where are you going?" He would answer, "I'm on my way to do a mitzvah." Well, which mitzvah? Matzah, tefillin, tzitzis. He goes, "I'm going to the bathroom." He goes, "What kind of mitzvah is that?" He goes, "In order to upkeep my body." So we see here that Hillel views taking care of yourself as a mitzvah. And another case where he says, "Go to the bathhouse to wash my body." And then he says that what's his source for it? He says, "Why? Of course I should take care of my body. The king has statues in the courtyard of the king, and he hires people, pays them to clean the statues all the time. Hashem created us in the image of God. Should we not take care of our bodies that are in the image of God, or our bodies and our souls that are in the image of God?" So we see from here that Hillel was into self-care. And this source seems to say the reason why. Because we're all in the image of God. Love your neighbor as yourself. We have to love others. But the reason why we love others is because they have the image of God. By the way, here's a little secret. You have the image of God as well. So that explains how Hillel that could be the depth of this Mishnah. Love, if I'm only for others, it's not okay. Because I also have the image of God. If I'm only for myself, that's not okay, because they have the image of God. So we have to see that we're all creating the image. I had a chavrusa in yeshiva. He was a blessing from a study partner in yeshiva. Was a blessing for me. Due to him, I was able to take one of the rabbinical tests for the Israeli rabbinate in laws of Shabbat. Because at that time I was going a little bit slow, and he's, I want to learn with you. I want to learn, and so we learned together like maybe like 10 hours a day preparing for that test. But some days he'd come to my chavruta so tired. Like, why are you tired? Because he was also like the madrich, he was like the guide for like the Shana Aleph students, like the students in their first year at the Gush. He was at the Gush with me. So he would come so tired. I was like, but he really wanted to take the test. I was like, listen, and one day, like, he was younger than me. So I was like, I sat him down, I was like, I actually quoted this mission. I goes, if you're only for yourself, if you're only for others, what are you? Like, you have to take care of yourself if you really want to do well on this test. Because basically he was coming really burnt out. Like he's like, can you wait a second? He'd come back like with like a cup of coffee and a tea, like he was just really tired. And so I was like, you have to kind of pace yourself. He would stay up really late with those students to help them, but he was like he didn't have to go that far. Like obviously he had a job. And so turns out he actually didn't take the test with me, but I took the test and I passed it. He didn't take it because he actually got kind of sick. Actually, maybe he didn't take my advice or whatever. But that's the message of like, if you're burnt out, you don't have you're not taking care of yourself. Number one, what?
No, I saw lights flash.
The light
Yeah,
was on
somebody
there,
just
and
closed the
guess
door
why the
back
cleaning
there.
staff.
It's two things. Number one, if we don't take care of ourselves, like my friend, you won't have what to give to others. You won't be able to pass the test and become a rabbi. But also, like, if we don't take care of ourselves, it's actually not true. We're not doing the right thing, because just like others have the divine image, we have the divine image as well. I think that's like it's our wrong behavior, because we're denying that we're also God. We have godliness in us. We're denying it. So that's a message connected to that. Another thing I want to share with you, I think it's a nice understanding. Where is it? Okay, I think. So we didn't speak yet about if not now, when. I never really understood, like, it feels a little out of place. Like, this is about geographical, like, who am I influencing? And that's temporal. It's about like time, not now when. It seems like it's not parallel. It's like two things about who's being influenced, and then it's like about when. So a thought I had on that was like this.
Oh, it makes a complete sense to me
Okay,
that it's with
okay.
those.
Yeah, me too.
I'm not sure I can explain it, but it makes complete sense. If you're gonna take care of yourself to help others, you need to start. If you don't start now, then when are you gonna start? And you'll never accomplish
So
it.
do you read the Mishnah as like in a dialectical? I mean, like A and B need each other? Is it like they go back and forth, or is it A leading to B? I mean, is the point of the Mishnah to help
I think you
others?
need the whole
Like,
thing.
I think that's what Janet was
Is
saying.
there
Or is it like,
symbiotic?
is it, yeah, because the way you're expressing it was like, if you don't have for yourself, you don't have to give to others.
Right. And if you don't start now to do it, then
What are you waiting for?
Yeah, what are you waiting
Seize
for?
the moment,
Why do I need that? Why can't I just say,
Because you're wasting time.
To
Yeah,
take his
he gets
test
pushed it off.
because he was pushing the
Yeah.
envelope.
Yeah.
You should have started when you told him.
so a thought?
because we don't live in one plane, we live in time, we
I know, all these Mishnahs are about, well, they're all gonna say, yeah, everything I'm telling you, do it later. No one's gonna say that. So why did that pop into this Mishnah?
because to him, Hillel was very simple in his words. And I think he wanted to say, you know what, this is such a basic thing that you need to really just
Okay.
like think it, do it now.
Okay, this is so basic that it's like,
You gotta get into motion.
Yeah.
If this is the right thing to do, why are you not doing
Yeah.
it?
I think that the self-care thing, you can also, I'm thinking about it, I have another explanation of this, but like, self-care is also like, it catches up with you after a while. Like, you know, at a certain point, you're giving, and at a certain point, like, you realize, whoa, like, what happened? Like, I've lost myself here, like, I don't have energy, I don't have resource, I don't have reserves. So maybe it's saying like, don't get to that place, like, if not now, yeah. But another thought on this could be like this, like, these both go together. Like, you have to, life's a balance between these two. And really, you're always playing the game of like, giving to others and then coming back and giving yourself. It's always like a balance. And basically, I think it's saying like, if not now, when? Like, we have to find where we are now and trying to figure out like if what needs to be tended to in the now. Like sometimes you could be too far off in helping others. So in the now, try to figure out how to get back to taking care of yourself. Like always have your finger on the pulse of yourself, I guess, figuring out if you're going too far. Like we have to do both of these. And we have to think in the now, am I too far on one side or the other? That could be like another way to read that.
I think it's way more simpler than that. Okay, because I mean, you're a much deeper thinker than I am. I don't have a problem saying that. And I hope you don't have a problem accepting it. You want to, part of being a frum Jew is reaching out and helping each other. But to be successful doing that, you have to make sure that you take care of yourself. And don't wait around for it to just happen. Just get into it, do it now.
What I'm saying,
That's it, simple, nothing more deep than that.
Adding on to this is like, he seems to be saying that it's not enough. Like you need both. I feel like you're presenting it, which is fine, like as A leads to B. If I take care of myself, I can help others. I think it goes the other way as well. Like if you're only taking care of yourself, you have to worry about taking care of others. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I think it goes both ways.
Still stymied by what you said, Rabbi, and it's good. I'm stymied, is that theoretically, the last, you could latch on to any of these and it would make some sense. So I'm stymied by what you said, that why this one? And I may not be able to figure it out in the next 5 minutes, but it's something to think about why, because it seems to me those are logical words that could fit anywhere in the Mishnah.
If not now, when? Or
Yeah, if not now, when? Right.
Yeah. That was my question. Like, why?
Yeah, that's what I don't get yet.
Me, the last lines, it gives us the explanation.
Correct. But what I'm saying is like, I could find another Mishnah where it says.
Yeah, you could put it into anything.
Yeah, I don't know, like, maybe he's saying this is the most important one for him, I guess, that's what he's saying. But like here, find yourself a rabbi, acquire a friend, and judge everybody favorably. And if not now, when? It's the time to judge people favorably. If you don't do it now, when are you gonna do it? Or like, you can, separate yourself from a bad neighbor. Do not become attached to the wicked. If not now, when? I'm saying, you could.
I just think this is what Parquet Vote is all about almost, and this is why humans are what came about, and how we treat each other, ourselves and each other, and this is like the essence of it.
I appreciate that. That's kind of what you're saying, yeah.
As far as we need to be able to take care of ourselves to help other people, but then also for the way we treat and respect other people will be how they feel we deserve also back from them. It's kind of like if you want a friend, you got to be a friend. And, it's a reciprocal type of thing, but you still have to start with yourself, like the airplane situation, to take care of your child.
Yeah.
And everybody can do this. This you don't need great learning. You don't need this is very operational.
It's funny because you could also say that it's everybody, it could be difficult for everybody.
Yeah.
That's why it's saying it's not now when, meaning you could go both ways. Like you could be like,
No, you could go.
well, I am, I'm doing that right now. So I'm saying that like, it's difficult. My friend, I sat him down, I talked with him, I had conversations with him. It was difficult for him to do that. So that's what I'm saying, as he had to keep saying to himself, if not now, when? Maybe he didn't say it enough. I don't know. Yeah.
Isn't it not now when? Speaking specifically that time is finite. The other actions are actions, but time is finite. If not now, when? That you can't recapture moments.
It's saying, so I'm connecting with that. I'm just trying, so how you?
That everything is defined by time. How time moves on.
are limited by time.
And extremely limited.
Seize the moment.
I agree with the message. Seize the moment is a very powerful message. I
No, it's
do-
more than seize the moment. That's just like, okay, I'll see, this is a command.
It's a command. I think it's relevant that it's commanded in this Mishnah. I'm searching for why this is more of a place to tack that onto than other places. And I do find it convincing that this is very, very basic and primal thing.
Because kindness,
Yeah.
like in his one standing on 1 foot thing, don't do
Yes.
hateful to it. Okay, it's kindness.
We're on
Kindness.
8:07, so I wanna be mindful for those who,
Also,
I gotta get to the houses, Clay.
okay. All right, so does Jay,
We're all
right?
about you, Robert.
No?
All right. Thank you for joining us.